8:30 to 9:30, and for 30 minutes thereafter, we'll have our open forum. So without much ado, I will briefly, although his CV is quite impressive and very long, but I will shorten the introduction to maximize the time. Our guest speaker for this morning came from the province of Romblon. His parents were both public school teachers, and he grew up in a low-cost government housing project in that area. From there, our speaker rose to successes in the fields of academics, sports, government, business, and civic government organizations. Before going to the United States Naval Academy, he was first a cadet of the Philippine Military Academy. At the U.S. Naval Academy, he graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree major in mathematics and operations analysis. He was a consistent superintendent's honor list during his stay at the Naval Academy. And also, he was selected as the company commander in one of the companies of the Corps, already a high-rank position in the Naval Academy. After his graduation from Annapolis, our speaker took up the Master in Business Administration at the University of the Philippines, where he graduated as valedictorian of his class. Our speaker served for 6 terms in the House of Representatives. That was for 18 years. He has consistently received the award, one of the most outstanding congressmen of the Philippines. And with that, he served for 6 terms with landslide victories in his district. That's why in the House of Congress, he was called the landslide king of Parañaque. He had served as chairman of the Committee on Public Order and Security, the chairman of the Committee on National Defense, and as deputy minority leader. While serving as chairman of the Committee on Public Order and Security, he boldly spearheaded the investigation against former AFP controller, retired Major General Carlos Garcia, as regards the AFP fund anomaly, which paved the way for the filing of appropriate criminal charges before the Office of the Ombudsman and the Court Martial. As a legislator, he authored several important laws of the land, and some are the following: Climate Change Act, the International Humanitarian Law, the Philippine Coast Guard Law, and the PNP Reform Law, among others. Our guest lecturer was also the National Security Advisor, former National Security Advisor, overseeing the country's counterterrorism and national security policy and programs. Right now, our guest lecturer is the chairman of the organization Di Ka-Pasisiil Movement. Classmates, please translate that to English for the benefit of our foreign classmates, and one of the 3 leading conveners of the West Philippine Sea Coalition. As such, he is among the vanguards in the citizens' movement to fight for our sovereign rights in our exclusive economic zone in the face of China's incursion and illegal presence in the West Philippine Sea. Classmates, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Chairman Roilo Golez.
Thank you very much, Colonel Reyes, for the very kind introduction. Good morning to everybody. Good morning, sir. Good morning to all the students, especially our visiting students from abroad. We understand we have students from Malaysia, from Pakistan, from Sri Lanka, from India, from Bangladesh, and from Nigeria. I don't know if I mentioned everybody, and Malaysia. Thank you so much. I think you're very lucky to be here studying National Security Administration, because you are in a place which is right now a convergence point as far as geostrategic and geopolitical events are happening, especially in the Asia-Pacific and Indo-Pacific area. What's happening here is a lot more than what's happening, for example, in the Middle East, in Europe, because practically all of the geopolitical actions are happening in our midst here in the Asia-Pacific area. And I'd like to thank also Admiral Choco for inviting me to be a lecturer this morning. My topic this morning is security challenges that confront the Philippines in the West Philippine Sea. This is a topic that I've been following even when I was a junior officer after graduation from the Naval Academy in 1970, because yours truly was one of the first to visit the Spratlys when the Philippines set up our occupation of several islands there. Okay, I'd like to start with the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. And the UNCLOS established parameters as far as territorial sea, 12 nautical miles, contiguous zone, 24 miles, and very important for today's lecture, exclusive economic zone, 200 nautical miles. And this is defined as an area beyond and adjacent to the territorial sea, subject to the specific legal regime established in UNCLOS, and as I mentioned already, up to 200 nautical miles from the shoreline. And here, what's very important is that the coastal state, in this particular case, the Philippines, and as far as South China Sea is concerned, the coastal states are China, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Vietnam. The coastal state has sovereign rights for the purpose of exploring, exploiting, conserving, and managing the natural resources, whether living or non-living, of the waters superjacent to the seabed, etc., etc. And it includes also jurisdiction over the establishment of artificial islands, installations, and structures. Again, I'd like to mention artificial islands, such as what you've been reading about in the newspapers, like Mischief Reef, Fiery Cross Reef, Subi Reef, artificial islands established illegally by China. UNCLOS gave the Philippines an EEZ of 2.2 million square kilometers, quite big, among the biggest because we are an archipelago. And it compares with China, which only has 877,000 square kilometers. So our exclusive economic zone is almost 3 times bigger than the EEZ of China. What's inside the EEZ of the Philippines? Of course, number one would be, as far as food is concerned, a lot of fish, abundant fish and other marine resources. Coral reef area, the second largest in Southeast Asia, estimated to be about 26,000 square kilometers. But a lot of that have been destroyed because of the illegal artificial island construction and reclamation conducted by China. Oil and natural gas deposits, and then of late combustible ice or methane hydrates, which is again a source of energy. That's supposed to be the good news, the gift and the blessing given to us by God above and by the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. However, something happened along the way. This is China's 9-dash line. And what is China's 9-dash line? China's nine dash line is that line that's the red line of China intruding into this is the exclusive economic zone line of the Philippines, then Malaysia and Brunei in between, Malaysia and Vietnam, and that is the exclusive economic zone of China, reckoned from Hainan. But what happened in 1947, and this was adopted by the People's Republic of China in 1949 when they took over, they declared without basis a 9-dash line intruding into the EEZ of the other coastal states, and as far as the Philippines is concerned, claiming about 90% of the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. In 1995, they started their occupation by constructing an illegal structure. When this was discovered in Mississippi, when this was discovered, they said that don't worry, this is just a temporary structure for the use of our fishermen. But about 5 years after, this became permanent, concrete structure. And I was one of the first to discover this when we flew over the area in 1999. China grabbed Scarborough Shoal in April 2012. Scarborough Shoal is this area. This is very close to Sampales in Luzon, about 130 nautical miles. Mississippi is somewhere here. And under Article 12, Section 2 of the Philippine Constitution, it is the duty of the state, and it is very clear, the state shall protect the nation's marine wealth in its archipelagic waters, territorial sea, and exclusive economic zone, and reserve its use and enjoyment exclusively to Filipino citizens. In other words, it is the duty of the state, and that includes all of us Filipinos. On January 22, 2013, the Republic of the Philippines instituted arbitral proceedings against the People's Republic of China under Annex 7 of UNCLOS. And this was acted upon by the Permanent Court of Arbitration based in The Hague. And on July 12, 2016, a little over 3 years after, the Republic of the Philippines was awarded a favorable decision by the Permanent Court of Arbitration, and this was met by celebration by the people of the Philippines. In fact, the following day, this became headline, front page materials in practically all the major newspapers of the country. And I was there also, leading a vigil of sorts awaiting the decision of the arbitral tribunal. And we are shown here celebrating the historic decision of the arbitral tribunal. The ruling is supposed to be a game changer. The decision reconfigured the games nation played in the South China Sea in 3 main ways. Number one, it brings a great deal of clarity to the game and legally clears most of the South China Sea from dispute. In other words, almost 80% of the South China Sea dispute has been cleared because of this decision. At its core, the verdict includes several key judgments that help accomplish this. And perhaps very consequentially, it repudiated China's 9-dash line as being without legal basis, because China's 9-dash line was based on historic rights not recognized by the Permanent Court of Arbitration. It also ruled that none of the features in the Sprat list can generate a continental shelf and an exclusive economic zone. In other words, the features there cannot have an EEZ. The EEZ can be projected only from the shoreline of the coastal states. and that the 5 features